Hi guys. For Center 1 today, you want to start off by going to the 7th grade website and then clicking on Language Arts and going to This Week in Class. Now once you're here, we're obviously going to be looking at Tuesday because that's what today is. We're going to click on Centers and it's going to take you to this doc. Now once we're here, we're going to focus on Center 1 because that's the center that we're working on for today. Now with Center 1, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and click into the close read. Now the materials that you're going to need for today's class are coloring supplies, and that's it. Just your Chromebook, your headphones, and coloring supplies. So please make sure that you have all of those things, that way you're prepared for this center. The first thing you're doing here at Center 1 is we are going to be doing a close read with Mona Lisa. Remember once again, you have a certain number of steps that you need to follow, and please make sure that you're reading the directions and that you're reading the article 3 times. Remember with close reading, it's so critical that you're reading it over and over again. That way you're understanding a couple different things and diving a little deeper into the piece. So the first time we read this, we are going to be looking for vocabulary words we don't know and basically what the story is about. The second time we read this, we're going to number the paragraphs and we're going to try to go through and see what's important, highlighting in a new color. And we're also going to be using these symbols anytime we highlight something within a paragraph. The symbols that we have, just like always, are the agree, disagree, important, surprising, and wondering. Step 3 is your final read, and that's when you're going through and doing your notes. Okay? So we'll go through and we'll do our first read together. And then I'm going to just jump ahead a little bit, that way you understand completely what you're going to be doing with the Mona Lisa piece. Okay? So, here's our article for today. Ottawa, September 26th. The first major scientific analysis of the Mona Lisa in 50 years has uncovered some unexpected secrets, including signs that Leonardo da Vinci changed his mind about his composition. So composition is a word maybe that I'm not as certain about, so I'm going to highlight that one. French and Canadian researchers said Tuesday. Photographs taken with invisible infrared light and a special infrared camera suggest that at least one of the details was hiding in plain sight, the scientists and conservators said. So infrared is something that maybe I don't see all the time, so I'm going to highlight that. And even conservators, something that I don't necessarily use in my everyday language. Okay. This sitter in the Louvre Museum 16th century masterpiece, believed to be Lisa Grinaldi, the wife of a Florentine silk merchant, who was originally painted wearing a large transparent overdress made from gauze, they said. Under normal light, part of the garment is visible on the right-hand side of the painting, but appears simply to be part of the background. You can see it when you know what you're looking for, said Bruno Maten, a curator in the research department of the Center of Research and Restoration of the Museum of France, known as C2RMF. He spoke at a news conference with researchers from the National Research Council of Canada. Okay, so I'm looking through this. Maybe some other pieces that I'm not as kind of familiar with would be the word restoration. Mr. Maten said such transparent robes were worn by expecting or nursing mothers in the 16th century Italy. The robe's reappearance in Mona Lisa would dovetail the scholarly research indicating that the painting might have been commissioned to commemorate the birth of Lisa Grinaldi's third child. Alright, so I have a couple more words. Commissioned and commemorate. The imaging also shows, although less clearly, that some of the sitter's hair was rolled into a small bun and tucked under a tiny bonnet with an attached veil. The images are too clouded to be reproduced on newsprint. That is not surprising, Mr. Maten said. The bonnet was usually worn by women in the 16th century. More generally, the researchers said they realized that centuries of grime had obscured some elements of the painting. Okay, so I have obscured. You're seeing a lot more fine detail showing that this remarkable painting is actually more remarkable than we believed, said John M. Taylor, an an imaging scientist and conservator with the National Research Council of Canada. Alright, so I'm going to have you go ahead on your own and continue forward with your first read. Remember, after your first read, the first thing you're going to be doing is writing down what these vocabulary words were. So composition, and you're going to define each of them. Okay? Remember, to help you define, you can always double click, and there's a button that says define, and right there it'll bring it up. So composition is the nature of something's ingredient or constituents, the way in which a whole or mixture is made up. So when I'm doing that, I want to say, in my own words, how something is made up. Okay? Now if you want to make these smaller, because you will be writing quite a few other notes, you can make them smaller, that's fine. And you can also get rid of this guy if you'd like. Okay? That doesn't have to stay there. Alright, so next, once you've finished doing your close read, so you've gone through, you've done each of these steps listed, okay? So you've read, you've numbered, you've highlighted, you've symbolized everything, and you've written notes on the side for each paragraph. You're going to go on down, and you're going to answer the questions below. So for the first one, it says, what does the word commemorate mean as used in context in the article? So you're going to go back and figure out, what do you think commemorate means based on your context clues. Okay, so take a look around it and see if you can figure it out. You're going to write the paragraph number here in which you found it, and then you're going to continue through the rest of your questions. Okay, when you're finished with your close read, your next step is going to be heading back to This Week in Class. So you should keep your tabs open between them. Then what you're going to do is go into the centers and click into your Modern Mona Lisa. Now at your table you'll have packets giving you instructions on what to do. So for this particular activity, it's going to give you some information about Mona. So it says the Mona Lisa was painted in the 16th century by Leonardo da Vinci. He's one of the most famous paintings in the world. For centuries, this oil painting has been studied and admired as a great piece of Renaissance artwork. It's speculated that the woman in the painting is Lisa del Giussano, the wife of an Italian silk merchant. The painting now hangs in the Louvre in Paris, France, behind a protective case and is visited by thousands of people every year. Okay? Your task is to create a modern Mona Lisa. You can use your own images and artwork, you can use pictures from magazines, pictures from the internet, or you can just use the original painting and add your own images and drawings. That's fine too. Before you do it, you want to add this page, which is in your packet, and you want to go through and answer these questions. Okay? So looking at the Mona Lisa, it can give us information back into the life of the Renaissance in terms of artistic style, what women wore, and how women were represented. What inferences can you make about women in the Renaissance based on this painting? Okay? So make some inferences. There's really no right or wrong answers. Just try your best with it. Down below, how would she be different if she were painted in the 21st century? So if we had maybe a more modern artist paint her today, what would be the difference? Would it look as classic as it does? Do you think they would have the same kind of background and clothing and hairstyle and posture? That's something to consider. What image or images will be behind your Mona Lisa? Why? So this is up to you. You can leave it as is, or maybe you want to draw Chick-fil-A in the background, or maybe you want to draw a Mac store in the background or Apple store in the background. Okay? Decide what she's going to be wearing. Will she have the same smile? Why or why not? How will we know that she is from present day? So that's what you want to describe, and you're doing this first before you do anything else. And then each of you will see that you do have a blank page of the Mona Lisa. I did cover up some of the clothing that she was wearing. That way you're free to change her clothing if you'd like. So keep in mind, what is it that you're going to add? Anything you add in the painting or the portrait should be colored, and it should be neat for full credit. Okay? So this is kind of the ending step to this center and to this process. If you don't finish in time, it will be for homework, so please keep that in mind as well, and please be aware of the time as you're working through. Okay? So make sure we're working quietly, make sure we're on task, and that we're completing all of our necessary steps. Okay? Thanks.